Welcome everyone to the Racing Reviews podcast. We have finally got the show on the road. This has been in the works for such a long time. Thank you all so much for your support over the winter. But it's 2021, the season is finally here. Winter testing is this weekend and we've got so much to get through on today's first ever episode of the Racing Reviews podcast. Feels so good to finally say that out loud. But to start things off, I wanted to go bold. I wanted to give you guys something special to launch the series. So, for our first ever episode of the podcast, 43 YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, even a few TikTok Formula One content creators will join me in today's episode, giving their one bold prediction. I'll tell you now, some of them have done more than one, but overall, one bold prediction for the upcoming 2021 season. There is some real spicy takes, so let me know your favourites in the comment section down below. And at the very end of today's podcast, I will give you my thoughts and my one boldest, most spiciest take I can give you for the 2021 season. So hopefully that all sounds cracking to you guys. Hopefully you'll look forward to this podcast over the course of this year. The plan so far is to do one podcast after every single race in the 2021 season. So we're going to end the year on about 25 with a few bonus episodes sprinkled throughout the season. Should be so much fun. So if you want to keep up to date and continue watching all Formula One 2021 goodness over the course of this year, the subscribe button is down below. A like on this first episode would be massively appreciated. But just before we jump into our hot takes, we've got a sponsor for the podcast, and this isn't just any sponsor. This is a sponsor I have reached out to sponsor the podcast, and that sponsor is Pit Lane Prints. Awesome custom artwork from the worlds of Formula One, MotoGP, but Formula One is the stuff I absolutely adored, especially some of the helmet designs, which thankfully Pit Lane Prints have let me use in every single episode of the podcast on the visuals. If you're watching here on YouTube, it should just be right up there in the top left-hand corner. Print sizes range from A4 all the way up to A1, and from the Formula One side of things, feature every single one of your favourite drivers' helmets. I've already picked up 5. I'm a little bit crazy. I love them so much, and of course, you just know I had to pick up the Grosjean print. Links will be in the description down below, and as the podcast goes on over the course of the 2021 season, we're hoping to bring you guys giveaways and a few extra goodies over the course of this year. Should be a lot of fun. Massive thank you to Pit Lane Prints for getting involved with the podcast, letting me use some of their graphics. Should be a fun partnership. Right then, shall we crack on with the reason you are all here? It's time for your F1 2021 bold predictions. In the description will be every single content creator's name and links in the order they appear. And just to make it clear, especially for you content creators listening to this, the order totally random. No favoritism whatsoever, so you're all good. Some great names at the start, some fantastic names near the end. So hopefully there's a little bit of everything as you go through today's episode. I'm going to shut my mouth now. I'll see you at the very end for my hot takes and a few final thoughts and a few final goodies heading into the next episode and heading in to winter testing. It's about time I shut my mouth and handed you guys over to your 43. Thank you everyone who got involved. 43 content creators.
Hello Dan from Racing Reviews. It's Stuart from Chainbear here with my 2021 F1 season prediction, in which I'm going to tell you that Carlos Sainz is going to score 1 of Ferrari's 3 victories. I think the Ferrari will be back to 2019 kind of form, and we'll see it establish itself as the 3rd best team on the grid. But Carlos Sainz will only score 1 of those victories, whereas Leclerc will take 2. But the main prediction is the Carlos Sainz one. If Leclerc doesn't score the 2, you can't mark me down for that. It's the Carlos Sainz one. But I thought I'd add some texture with the extra information. Okay, well, good luck.
Hey, we're Cass and Chris from CCF1, 2 Canadian content creators in the F1 community. As for my bold prediction, I'm saying that George Russell is going to replace Valtteri mid-season, But for a more regular prediction, I think Hamilton is going to claim his 8th world title, but I'm also saying that Williams are going to score points and not be last in the Constructors' Championship.
Whereas on my side, my bold prediction is that Max and Checo are going to finish off the season with the same number of race wins. My more regular predictions would be that Vettel wins a race, and I see Ferrari fighting for 3rd place in the championship.
Alright. If I had to give one crazy prediction for the 2021 season, it would be an Aston Martin victory. But not just any victory, because the person driving that Aston would be the one and only Lance Stroll. And I realise at this point how many of you sat upright in your chairs at the thought of the world's worst animator predicting a win for Sir Lancelot. But there is reason behind my madness, I think. While Sir Lancelot wouldn't be appearing on anyone's top 10 list of all time, on his day, he is quite an effective driver. We saw that in circumstances like last year's Turkish Grand Prix. He is progressively getting better as the years go on, albeit at the pace that a hair grows on a goat's scrotum, but there will come a time where he will perform. And if the Aston package is good enough, and if the circumstances are right, he may very well cross that line first, becoming Canada's first Grand Prix winner since Jacques Villeneuve in 97. Or maybe this will age like a president, who knows?
Hey, Tim here from the MotorMouth app and the MotorMouth podcast. Big thanks, Dan, for letting me be part of this show. So, F1. Well, first of all, let me say I am hugely excited about this season. There's going to be some amazing teammate battles up and down the grid, and a whole host of new drivers to entertain us. With that in mind, my bold F1 predictions are, number 1, that Lance Stroll will end the season with more points than Sebastian Vettel. I genuinely think Lance is a decent driver, and with his dad owning the team, he's never going to be short of a new part or two. And even though Seb is with a new team, is his drive still there? Has he really got that burning ambition that he used to have? I'm not so sure, so my money is on Lance. I hope I'm proved wrong. Lando Norris will school Daniel Ricciardo. That is number 2. Number 3, Mick Schumacher's going to be a bit of a flop. Not necessarily because it's his fault, because he's in a bit of a stagnating car. Leftovers from 2020 without too much exciting development or innovation happening in 2021. Just can't see him really having an impact this year. Maybe 2022. Finally, number 4, my 4th and final prediction, Lewis Hamilton will not win another Formula 1 World Championship. I'm with Formula 1 on this, who wrote an article on their website recently saying that Red Bull are going to win the championship in 2021, and I'm with them. Max Verstappen for the title, or how cool would it be if we got to the end of the season and Sergio Perez was our F1 World Champion? Those are my F1 bold predictions. Thanks, Dan. See you soon.
Hey, Dan. I'm gathering that you invited me on this thing because I've got a bit of form for making ridiculous predictions. I've no idea where you're getting that idea from. Might be something to do with Leclerc a couple of years ago, or idiotic Williams predictions back when we were doing Chamber's prediction game. They all worked, right? No? Anyway, 2021, I was thinking about various different X amount of people win races, but when it comes down to it, we need something that's going to get us all talking. And if my predictions happen, things tend to be a bit crazy. So, big one, at least 2 races will have their podiums changed by a steward's decision. Can you imagine the raging that's going to happen on Twitter if that happens? Oh, comment sections are going to be great. Hopefully no one else has been quite that crazy because, well, it'd be quite embarrassing if they went even more crazy and they actually happened. Thanks for getting me involved with this. It's always good fun to take part in your ideas, and I can't wait to hear more of this podcast that you've got going, and also to hear what all the other people you've got involved have had to say, because from everything I've seen that people have posted on Twitter, people are expecting fireworks this year, and God only knows what's going to happen. Alright, see you, mate.
Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And...
Wait, no, what are you doing? This isn't our channel.
Oh yeah, no, wait, sorry. Should I just do the normal introduction?
Yes, you idiot.
Okay, hi guys, this is Mike and Stephen from F1 Fanatics and Indie Fanatics, and Dan has asked us to give our bold predictions for the 2021 F1 season. So as we have got Dan to come on and talk about Grosjean on both our channels, our bold prediction is that we won't have Dan on either our channels to talk about Grosjean again this season.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Good point. Okay, serious but not serious, because that's what bold predictions are. As a self-confessed and proud Alonso fan, my prediction is that he will win a race this season with Alpine. And let's make it extra bold and say he'll do it at his home race in Catalonia, because why not?
So you may think the natural bold prediction for me would be for Max to win the championship, but that's just fact. So my actual bold prediction is that Ferrari are back and Charles Leclerc will win the opening race in Bahrain.
There you go. That's our bold predictions. Are they bold enough? You'll have to let us know. But thanks, Dan, for having us on, and I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of the bold predictions.
I have a lot of fairly timid predictions for the 2021 season, such as Nicholas Latifi being absolutely whitewashed by George Russell in qualifying, again, and Haas once again failing to deliver anything reminiscent of a good result. But I've said it before on my channel, and I'll say it again on Dan's. I think McLaren are going to struggle this year. I know that some of you might be wondering what I've been smoking recently, and if you really want to know, then it's a blend between Coke— okay, I've just realised I can't really say that out loud on Dan's channel, or he's going to get demonetized. Subscribe to my channel and I'll tell you. But yeah, although McLaren have the benefit of the Mercedes power unit in the back of their car this year, they've had to make some pretty big sacrifices in order to do so. So for that reason, I think they're going to struggle in terms of aerodynamic developments, where their competitors will most likely have spent all of their development tokens. It'll certainly be interesting to see how it pans out in the first few rounds of the season, and I can't wait.
Alright, Dan, so you wanted my spicy take for the 2021 F1 season. Look, I'm very much in the minority here, but I believe over the course of a 23 race season, I think Esteban Ocon will outscore Fernando Alonso. I just do. I think Ocon came really good at the end of last year. Now, I know Daniel Ricciardo had the measure of him for most of last season, but Daniel Ricciardo's top tier. And Ocon, this was his first year in the team. It was his rookie. I know he was at Force India back in the day. Whatever. It was his first year at Renault against Daniel Ricciardo in his second year. By the end of the year, he'd almost caught up with him quality pace. Yes, race pace was still a bit behind, but again, expect Daniel Ricciardo's so good. And then you've got Fernando Alonso, who, yes, 2 times world champion. Yes, one of the, in his prime, top 10 of all time, arguably. I would definitely put him up there at his prime levels. But he's 39 now. He'll be 40 in July, I think. He's had 2 years out of Formula One. Yes, he's been racing in other sports, but again, he won in WEC, but that's more of a team sport because he's not the only driver. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's a huge expectations to expect anything more from Fernando. And it's so competitive in that midfield. You've got Ferrari who are going to improve. You've got Aston Martin, potentially Vettel coming back, resurgent. You've got the McLaren boys. You've got so much talent. It's going to be incredibly difficult. I think we're setting high expectations of Fernando Alonso. A lot of people are expecting Fernando to come in and just hit the ground running and smash it. If anyone can, it's him, but I still think that's not going to happen. And I think Esteban is young, is improving. I think Esteban's going to have the measure of him. But that's my thoughts anyway. Fernando Alonso fans, I am sorry.
As a Sergio Perez fan, I'm going to go ahead and predict that Sergio will beat his personal record of 3 podiums in a single season, which he did in 2012 with Sauber, of course, and he will get a minimum of 4 podiums this year. I predict Lewis Hamilton will win the championship, but not by the kind of margin he enjoyed in 2020, as I expect it will be closer this year between the top teams in terms of points. I think Sebastian Vettel will also have a resurgence this year and score at least 1 podium with Aston Martin, but also I expect Lance to match this pace and score at least 1 podium of his own. At Alpine, I expect Fernando will be the superior driver over Ocon, but with a few surprises from Esteban along the way, and at least 1 podium between the two of them by season's end. Haas will be the slowest team this year, with Williams hopefully closing the gap to the rest of the field a bit. Carlos and Charles will hate each other by Silverstone. And while Alfa Romeo will be faster than Haas, they'll still be in the bottom half of the grid, possibly battling Williams for single-digit points on occasion. McLaren will struggle more compared to last year, but only because of Aston Martin and Alpine improving so much. And I predict Pierre and Yuki will become best friends forever, and people will literally melt into a puddle when they see them together.
Hi guys, I'm Beth from the Beth1 channel, and my big, bold, crazy prediction is one that I don't think many people are going to be happy about, and I'm not happy about it either, but I just feel like it's going to happen. My prediction is that Pierre Gasly will leave Formula 1 at the end of the 2021 season. Now I know what you're all thinking, Pierre is going to replace Ocon at Alpine next season. What on earth do you mean? I'm really not too sure about it. Why would they replace a French driver with another French driver? And it's not like Ocon is the worst driver in the world, is it? I just think that Pierre is going to want to leave Red Bull, and Red Bull are going to want to kick him out because of all the juniors coming up, and I just don't see anywhere for him to go. Honestly, my ideal situation is George Russell and Pierre Gasly in the Mercedes team together, but somehow I'm not too sure that's going to happen. But if Pierre doesn't go to Mercedes, where does he go if I don't think he fits well at Alpine? There's nowhere for him. I've got my fingers crossed that this prediction really doesn't come true, and hopefully I won't be looking at myself in December thinking, oh my god, Beth, what did you do?
So my bold prediction then for the 2021 F1 season is going to be that McLaren are going to be race winners this season. Now, McLaren haven't tasted a race win since Brazil 2012 with Jenson Button, nearly 9 years ago. I know, I can't believe it myself as well. And since then, McLaren have just been on a roller coaster journey, hitting rock bottom with the Honda partnership, very unreliable and very slow. Went to Renault to sort of, kind of regain the reputation as well and sort of build again from the very bottom. Phoenix out of the ashes, to say the least. And then they've got Zach Brown on board. He's leading the charge. Andre Seidel as well, the new team principal. Lando Norris into his third season with Daniel Ricciardo alongside him. And just a cherry on the cake, almost, if you want to call it that, they've got the Mercedes power unit as well for the first time since 2014. McLaren are in such a brilliant position right now. They are ready to become race winners right now. If it wasn't last season, it is 100% this season. A very strong driver lineup, a very good power unit behind them, and some very key personnel in the background as well. McLaren are back.
Hi Dan, hi everyone. This is Alex from the iContrast channel based here in Australia. I hope you guys are all doing well all across the world. I know these are very difficult times at the moment, but my bold prediction for the 2021 season is that Lance Stroll will outperform all match in performance Sebastian Vettel. And I know that you guys might be thinking this is crazy, but there is a little bit of method to my madness, and that is this year's car will be developed based on the input given by Lance Stroll and the remnants of Sergio Perez. Now, Sebastian Vettel hasn't had a great track record as of recent, being beaten in a new car for Ricciardo and a new car for Leclerc. So he's going to have to really step up his game coming to a new team, learning a new power unit. Obviously, the drivability is going to be different than the Ferrari power unit. So it's just a whole bunch of new things for him to get used to. And at least at the start of the season, it will take him a bit of time. He's a 4-time world champion, of course. He can manage it. He's more than capable. But I do believe Lance Stroll will match, if not beat, Sebastian Vettel this year. And I know a lot of people are going to say that's crazy. I know I've already made a poll who out of the teammates you believe is going to win. And it's stacked well against what my prediction is. But that is my prediction for the 2021 season. And I hope you all have a great day.
Hi guys, I'm Charlotte from the Purple Sector, and I think my bold prediction for 2021 will be that we'll see a McLaren win. I really hope we can see a McLaren win. Obviously I want it to be Lando, but I just feel like we might be able to see a McLaren win. Also, I would love to see Pierre back on the podium. So my other bold prediction is that we will see Pierre Gasly get back on that podium and show Red Bull what they're missing.
Oh, hello there! I'm Aiden, aka Mr. Aiden Rule, and I'm here today to give you my bold prediction for the 2021 F1 season. Now for me, this prediction isn't even that bold, but I know a lot of other people might, definitely will disagree with me on this one, so I think it qualifies. Anyway, my prediction is that this season, Lance Stroll will win a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Okay, hear me out, lads. He made some great strides in performance last year, with some big, standout performances sprinkled in throughout, like his pole in Turkey, and I feel that this year's going to continue to improve, and when he gets his chance like he did in Monza last year, or, Turkey, he won't bottle it this time, and will take a W. It happened for Gasly, it's happened for Perez. I think Stroll could have it this time. And I also think he'll beat Vettel this season, but you lot aren't ready for that debate, so I'm just going to leave it there. Anyway, thanks for having me. It was great talking to you for about 30 seconds. And let's see what waffle the next bloke has for us, shall we?
Hello, it's ELLIE F1, and my prediction for the 2021 season is that Lewis Hamilton will retire, as he only signed a 1-year contract, and I think this will be his final year. Despite the fact he will retire, I think he'll retire on top. I think he'll retire as the world champion with the record of 8 world titles, and I think with that that George Russell will replace him at Mercedes, and I think that will be a very interesting time. Maybe Bottas will stay. I don't know about that one. I haven't thought that one through, but either way, I think George will go to Mercedes at the end of the year.
Right, hi guys, I'm the Moaning Yorkshireman. Thank you very much to Dan for allowing me this opportunity to stick my two penneth in on the current 2021 season and my predictions for it. So a nice easy one to kick things off. Lewis Hamilton, 8th world title, Mercedes 8th Constructors' Championship as well. 8 for 8, records are made to be broken, and that's what's going to happen this year. I believe that Red Bull will be closer than they were in previous years. I think both cars will be up there this time. Of course, the second car in the hands of Perez alongside Max Verstappen. They're going to be closer, they're going to offer a fight, we're going to be entertained by it, but I always feel that Red Bull are just going to fall short this time around, just fall short. But nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting year this year, and I don't think it's going to be a season of dominance for the Mercedes team. Yuki Tsunoda is my man to watch this year, mightily quick. I think he's going to deliver some good results instantly, and I think he will be closer to Gasly than people think. Gasly's going to have the overall edge, of course, with experience, but overall, I think Yuki Tsunoda's going to be up there, so watch out for him. Mick Schumacher will have a solid enough start to the year, and the Russian driver that can't be named for legal reasons will do dismally, and I am predicting that he's going to finish last in the championship with no points.
Hi Racing Reviews, it's Katy here from WTF1. My prediction for the 2021 season is that we're going to see yet another first-time race winner. Looking at the current grid, there are probably not too many that we can choose from, but I'm going to say possibly somebody like Lando Norris of McLaren or Lance Stroll of Aston Martin are going to get their first Formula One victory this season. If I had to put money on it, I would say that it's going to potentially be Lance Stroll that takes his first victory this year. Hope you all have a wonderful year and enjoy this 2021 season. Take care.
Hi, Harry Benjamin here from the MOTORMOUTH podcast. My one bold prediction for this year's F1 season is that Yuki Tsunoda for AlphaTauri is going to get a podium all on his own merit. Watch this space.
Hey Dan, first of all, I just want to say thank you for asking me to be involved with this video. Keep up the great work, love the content, can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the future. But I am here to give you my bold prediction of what I think is going to happen this year. And I was thinking about what should I go for. There's many scenarios out there, but I've gone with my gut instinct because it is one of my favourite drivers on the grid. Absolutely love the guy to death and hope he has a great year. And that is George Russell. I'm going to predict he's going to get one or more Q3 appearances this year. We do know that the Williams was the worst car last year on the grid, but yet George Russell managed to get the car into Q3 quite a lot of times and also only missed out on Q3 by a couple of tenths. So I feel like Williams are going to make another step forward, also with that Mercedes engine potentially having even more power in the back of that Williams car. Could promote George Russell to getting a few Q3 appearances.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone on the Racing Reviews channel. My name is Moto Meerkat, and I've been asked here today to give you a wee little prediction for the Formula 1 2021 season. So, Moto Meerkat's crazy prediction for 2021, well, not so crazy, I don't think anyway. It's a possibility that it could happen. It's not something super obvious like Lewis Hamilton winning the championship, or not something super crazy like Nikita Mazepin winning the championship, but I'd say relatively in between the two of those. So I reckon that George Russell will score a point in the Williams in 2021. Now, he's been getting close to it most years since he joined Formula 1, like almost getting a point, but not quite. And although he did get his first points in Formula 1 last season, it was in a Mercedes, so that's kind of a bit of a cheat, I would say, for George. So I think George needs to put his finger out and actually get some points at Williams, and this year he's going to do it. Just mark my words, Racing Reviews. You mark my bloody words.
Okay, so my F1 2021 predictions are as follow. I believe that Red Bull will be the Constructors' Champions, but Lewis Hamilton's still getting that Drivers' Championship. I believe that McLaren will still be P3 at the end of the year, with Ferrari pretty much being behind them pretty much most of the year, but being a big battle regardless. Aston Martin and Alpine will still be behind them as well, but it will be quite a big fight for them, and I feel like they'll be quite close throughout the whole year. With regards to Williams, Haas and Alfa Romeo, it will kind of be a massive battle for last position. I believe that we're going to see loads of battles across the whole field this year, especially for the title, and I feel like it will be the biggest title battle we've seen since 2012. And yeah, I feel like we're set for a good year of Formula 1 with pretty much the best racing we're going to see for a very long time with the 2022 regulations. I don't think they'll be that good, But this year, I feel like we're in for the best year, and I can't wait for it to begin.
So my bold prediction going into the 2021 season is that the Australian Grand Prix will be an absolute banger. Now, over the past couple of years, Albert Park hasn't produced the most exciting races, mainly because of how difficult it has been to overtake. However, with the track layouts being modified for this season, I think that the races won't be as processional and in fact produce a lot more overtaking opportunities. The 9-10 complex will be turned into a flowing switchback, making the entry into 11 and 12 quicker than ever before. Turns 1, 3, 6, 13 and 15 will all be widened, allowing the drivers to get creative with racing lines and to make defending in the final sector that much harder. The track is also going to be resurfaced, meaning that tyre management will become more critical during the races and open up options on strategy. And finally, it's now been moved to the end of the season, which, I don't know, I just have my own suspicions on that one. Nevertheless, I'm willing to go as far as to say that it will be one of the top 3 races of the year.
So my bold prediction for the 2021 Formula 1 season will be that Lance Stroll will win a race before Sebastian Vettel does at Aston Martin this year. It's a great pair and one of, if not the biggest driver-team rivalries that we are going to see this season. The 4-time world champion against Lance Stroll. Now, of course, Seb top trumps Lance Stroll in terms of wins, championships, podiums, poles, and everything else under the sun. It was a good season by Lance Stroll, it's progressive, and it shows that this season just won't be such a pushover that Sebastian Vettel thinks he probably can do. I do think that Lance Stroll is a good driver. I am expecting poles, I am expecting podiums, I'm expecting a race win, and as just said there, I do think that this will come first before Sebastian Vettel, and this will implement himself to us and in the team and to Seb that he is a driver to stay and he is a strong driver, and that Sebastian hasn't got an easy teammate this year.
Hi everyone, it's Steph from All About Steph 1. My bold prediction for the 2021 season is that Fernando Alonso will win a race. And I say this because we had quite a few chaotic races in 2020, and I'm predicting even more chaos for 2021, especially because we've got more races scheduled on the calendar. If Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly are able to capitalise on the misfortunes of those in front of them, then I'm fairly sure that Fernando Alonso will also be able to do that in a so-called chaotic race. The Renault was a quick car last year, so we can safely say that the Alpine will be just as fast, if not even faster, giving Alonso plenty of opportunities to attack the front of the grid. Can't wait to see him on the top step!
This is Floris Visman from F1 Feeder Series. Hi Dan and Racing Reviews. My crazy F1 prediction for this year, for the 2021 season, is that Yuki Tsunoda will get a podium. As I understand it, the idea at the beginning of last year was that Yuri Vips would be promoted to AlphaTauri, but he didn't have a very good year. He didn't do a full program. He did a couple of races in F2. He did a couple of races in Formula Regional. He was supposed to do Super Formula, so everything went wrong for him. But on the other end, you had Yuki Tsunoda, who people didn't really expect a lot of him, the public at least. But he had an excellent year. Helmut Marko chose him over Yuri Vips, who does have his super license now. So yeah, I think he's going to get a podium. I think he's going to give Pierre Gasly a very tough time. You know, it will take him a couple of races, but he's extremely talented. And maybe in a crazy race like AlphaTauri had last year and the year before, he could get a podium. Yeah, for sure.
Hi guys, my name's Durk. So my bold prediction for the upcoming season of F1, I would like to see Daniel Ricciardo doing bits with McLaren. And I think he can do it because they have the engine for it and the car for it this year. So I'm thinking that McLaren are going to be fighting for second in the Constructors, and that Daniel Ricciardo might even be giving Verstappen and Bottas the run for the money and be looking to get second in the Drivers' Championship. So I would love to see Daniel Rick in the second, maybe even winning the World Championship, I don't know. But McLaren for sure contesting for that P2 in the Constructors. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Hello everybody, it's me Jess. Most of you may know me as JessGames95, and here is my prediction for the F1 2021 season. My prediction is Daniel Ricciardo is going to get more than 1 podiums with the McLaren team this year. Daniel Ricciardo looked very strong towards the second half of last season, and it showed because he provided us with some really great battles, and he deserved the podiums he got last season because he is definitely podium material, and I won't be surprised within the next few years that he'll get a win with McLaren. Maybe not this year, but I'm very, very confident that he's going to get a podium with the team. It may take a while for him to settle in, so I'm not expecting him to get a podium right off the bat, but he's really going to help McLaren solidify their place in the Constructors' Championship and maybe potentially challenge for third again. I really like the teammates in McLaren this year. Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris has such great personalities, and I'm sure they're going to bond very, very well. If Daniel Ricciardo keeps getting more podiums this year, I think he's going to climb up in the Drivers' Championship, and that's really going to help him in the years to come. There's so many other predictions that I thought of, but I feel like this is the one which could happen this year, and I wish McLaren the best of luck for the 2021 season.
Hi, I'm Ryan from the Raian F1 YouTube channel, and my bold predictions for 2021 are: Fernando Alonso will get multiple podiums this season. We have all seen how close the battle for third position in the Constructors' Championship was last year, and by the end of the season, the difference in performance varied from race to race. Many have written him off, but I honestly think Alonso will surprise us all. My second one is that McLaren will win a race. Last year they came just short due to a lucky call from AlphaTauri in Monza, but with Ricciardo and Norris they will get their chance to shine once again. And my final and most controversial one will be Latifi will outscore Russell when it comes to the final standings. Let's be honest, even though I love George, he hasn't been one of the luckiest drivers since he joined the grid, and with Williams' steady improvement in pace, I reckon they could scrape by at the bottom of the points in more than one occasion. But maybe Latifi will end up in front due to circumstances outside of his hands. Like we've seen time and time again, George is a master when it comes to qualifying, but you'd be surprised to see how close Latifi actually is on race pace.
Hi, my name is KEIRA Megan and I'm from the KEIRA Megan F1 channel, and my crazy prediction for the 2021 season is probably that Aston Martin are gonna be on par with Red Bull. Now we know that Mercedes and Red Bull are the ones that are right at the top, and then there's quite a big gap down to like McLaren, Renault, now Alpine, and obviously now Aston Martin. But I honestly just believe there is so much momentum in that Racing Point / Aston Martin coming into this year. They've got 2 really good drivers in their lineup, and the amount of points that they probably could have got if their drivers didn't have COVID last year, or when they didn't get their points deducted for, you know, the brake ducts, but we won't go into that. I truly feel like they can carry all that momentum from last year into this year, and they can really be at the top fighting with Red Bull. Don't believe that Red Bull are going to go down at all. I just believe that Aston Martin are going to go up, and them two are going to be challenging for P2 in the Constructors.
So for this season, 2021, I do think this is going to be the year in which McLaren and I think Daniel Ricciardo kind of re-established themselves as the pecking order in F1, you know, the top dogs in the sport. Now, I'm not saying McLaren are going to win, but I do believe McLaren will be in the mix, and I think they will comfortably be the third best team on the grid. And I also think Daniel Ricciardo has a bit of a chip on his shoulder and has something to prove. I think he had a really good 2020, but I still think he needs to remind people just how good of a driver he really is. And I think this could be the year where Daniel, with this McLaren package, could take a big step forward, and I think a really big needed step forward for both him and the team, and of course Lando as well. Can't forget about him, can't underestimate what Lando can bring to the team. So I really believe that McLaren package, the synergy going on right now with the Mercedes engine, and their car was pretty damn all-round decent last year at every track they raced at. I really think McLaren are dark horses, and dare I say, if there's a crazy couple of races like last year, you've got to put some money on McLaren to maybe even win a race and pick up a few pieces. At least that's the way I think of it. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. I'm going to put my bets on the table, and we'll see if they come true by the end of the year.
My bold prediction for the 2021 Formula 1 season is that Nico Hülkenberg will race at least one race for the Mercedes Formula 1 team.
Everyone, late breaking here with our bold predictions for the 2021 season. We've got a bit of a reputation to uphold. We do love a bold prediction. So, Sam, what's your one, sir?
People seem to think that I like to go left field and I like to be crazy. It feels like there's a reputation in the F1 world at the moment that I'm a little bit mental. 5 teams are going to win, actually. 5 teams are going to win a race.
The
This season.
championship of
Yeah.
a race, yeah.
Each
That really would be
championship
bold.
each.
Yeah.
I will hand out 3 of those championships. No, 5 different teams are going to take home a race victory this season. I'm going to go as far as to name those teams. One of these might shock you, actually. So, of course, Mercedes, they'll get a win. Red Bull, they always seem to nick one in there. And this is where it gets a little bit caliente, more caliente, very spicy for those that don't speak the Spanish language. Aston Martin, on their debut in the season, will pick up a race victory. Of course, they did well with old Sergio as Racing Point. I think that Vettel, Sevi Vet, with his renowned success and reinvigorating atmosphere, is going to do well. After that point, Fernando, Alpine are going to pick up the W, and I think Fernando's going to get a win back in F1. And then finally, Danny Rick from McLaren is going to pick up a victory. So Ferrari will not win out of those top 5 teams. So that's my bold prediction. I've been a little bit specific with the race drivers, so maybe permit me if the other driver wins. But that's my bold prediction.
No, that's not how it works. Got to be exact. I'm going to go with the McLaren link, actually, and say that it's not as bold as yours, but Lando Norris is going to beat Daniel Ricciardo across the 2021 season. Danny Rick's quality, but I've got Lando Norris beating him. Harry, what's your one?
My one involves dear friend, porridge man, Walter Bottas. He isn't going to get pole position all season.
Wow.
That, I think, might be more bold than my one.
No, that is seriously bold.
Might be on the front row, but he's never going to get the pole. He's going to be beaten every time by like the smallest margin, and you'll see his soul being crushed in real time.
He will actually become porridge slowly.
He's just melt into a bowl.
Oh, bless the poor man.
Right.
Anyway,
We'll
that's
leave
it.
you with that image, because what could be better than that? That's our predictions. Keep breaking late.
Hey guys, Dre here from the Motorsport 101 Network. Apologies for the hair. I was asked by Racing Reviews to come up with a bold prediction for the 2021 season. Now, honestly, I think bold predictions generally kind of stink, but if I had to make one, it would probably be Lando Norris to beat Daniel Ricciardo head-to-head this season. Now, hear me out. I know a lot of people are down on Lando. I think a lot of people give him a hard time because of his fan base and audience. I also think a lot of people are very high on Daniel Ricciardo, and rightly so. He's a top 3 driver in the world, in my opinion. But the thing is, I think Lando's got a good chance. I think he's a very underrated qualifier. He's 2-0 head-to-head against Carlos Sainz, round was a single lap of a Grand Prix track. He's been better than him the last 2 years qualifying head-to-head, and I think he massively improved in terms of point totals and overall results from last year compared to 2019. I think he's going to take another big step forward in the right direction and take advantage of Ricciardo still adapting to a brand new car. It would not surprise me at all if Lando Norris was able to put one over on the Honey Badger.
Hey guys, Matt here. My bold prediction for the F1 2021 season is that Lance Stroll will outscore his new teammate Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin driver rivalry. Yeah, some of you may probably think I'm a bit crazy with going this one, but I can't help but feel Lance Stroll has made decent strides in his F1 career over the last couple of years. Obviously, taking his first pole position back at the Turkish Grand Prix, I'm sure, was one of the major highlights, and of course, another podium at the Italian Grand Prix earlier on this season as well. Like I said, some of you might think I'm a little bit insane, but I guess come December, we shall wait and see.
Hello Dan mate, I hear you're after some bold predictions for the 2021 season. So here's mine. I am predicting that Sergio Perez is going to win 2 races with his brand new team, Red Bull. That would match the total that Max Verstappen got last year, so I think it's pretty bold. And also we've seen how often in recent times first-year drivers in that Red Bull seat really struggle to get to grips with things, but I think Perez is going to have a fantastic season. I think all that experience he's got is going to help him to get on top of that car nice and early. And as we know from, recent times, but also his whole career, he always gets the best out of the car he's given, and this is the first time he's given an opportunity in a car that can actually push for the top. So whether it comes through some rain, some random events, or just straight through skill, which I think is more likely, Sergio Perez is going to win 2 races this year, is going to extend that contract at Red Bull, and is going to help them close the gap to Mercedes.
Hi, I'm Hazel Southwell, and I'm up bright and early today with my predictions for the 2021 Formula 1 season for Racing Reviews. So I think that's something that maybe it's a little bit boring to say, but we have to be realistic about, is that the midfield is going to get even tighter. There's going to be real competition from Toro Rosso. We hope, Tifosi certainly hope, that Ferrari have made at least not another step backwards. And I think we'll be seeing all those guys contending for podiums from McLaren down to Toro Rosso. And I think that's going to be a really exciting season as a consequence. I think at the sharp end of that, will we see McLaren and Aston Martin contending for wins? Maybe. I mean, of course, Racing Point did get that win at the end of last season, so certainly not out of the question. And we're probably going to have another really weird season. It's not going to be the usual. There's going to be changed races. There's going to be races that happen out of order. There's going to be the calendar going weird, and it's probably going to be another pretty stressful one for everyone who works in the paddock. So yeah, a different one. Will the ultimate outcome be that changed? Maybe not. I doubt that Mercedes have forgotten how to make a Formula 1 car in the break, but we shall see.
Most of the grid is sitting on expiring contracts. This creates a very fragile environment where drivers will be consumed with extending their future in F1, and concern for the opposing side of the garage falls to essentially nil. Consider the following storylines. Lando Norris landed on the grid with some high expectations, and quietly he's been beaten in the tables, but he's handled himself pretty well in the underlying battles to the now Ferrari man and Carlos Sainz. And Ferrari as a unit, down but never out, goes into the season with an us versus world mentality. The internal push to get much needed results will stir the pot all on its own, as I expect a new beef to sizzle to perfection with the Maranello outfit. Leclerc will be out to prove his takedown of Vettel was no fluke, but I suspect Carlos won't be so easy to topple. Speaking of toppling, I guess crumbling, I predict Valtteri will drive like Mr. Chip on his shoulder all season long. Hopefully he's come to realize that it's very true. Nice guys do finish last. Well, I guess in this case, with Mercedes, behind Lewis. He's already once had to deal with the pressure of a one-year extension, and he now faces pressure from both ends. After sniffing the very real and sweet aroma of a victory, all but to escape him, a highly talented but hampered George Russell, aching for a ride that can win, is also set to ink a new deal. And since we're on new deals, let's talk Alpine. This will be spicy. A champion set to prove he's still got it, and a youngster equally motivated to prove that he hasn't. And something tells me the idea of besting a living legend like Alonso is of particular interest to Ocon. He'll be very eager to save his reputation after the trouncing Ricciardo handed him. I expect some fireworks over there. Equally destined for some trouble on the horizon is Red Bull. Of all the pairings on the grid, this is the one that seems the most dynamic and the most dire. Verstappen's frustrations will likely focus on calculating the use of his assumed opt-out clause, and painfully enough, he'll be at the mercy of Hamilton's move. Given what he's obviously capable of, the Dutchman has exhibited some incredible patience as he's been locked in by the era. If you're expecting him to forego even the slimmest of chances to be in a title-winning car, that's pretty asinine. And while it's a phenomenal opportunity, I don't envy Checo. That is easily the worst seat on the grid. He can only do so much with that car, and at best, we're looking at what, P3? His contract and just the situation he's been thrusted into paints a picture of an overqualified transitional driver helping Red Bull straddle the eras. Yeah, something tells me Checo's gonna want a little bit more than that. And of course, there's plenty more where that came from, but these are the ones that I wouldn't be shocked if they begin to rear their ugly head before the checkered flag even drops in Bahrain. So, rather than go on about who will beat who only to age like warm milk, what I can offer is an outlook that expects the most cutthroat championship, top to bottom, this era has seen by a long shot. Oh yeah, and by the way, Lewis wins 8, retires, and Max joins Russell at Merck for 2022. Did I forget to say that?
My bold prediction for 2021 is fairly simple, and that's that Sebastian Vettel will get himself a win in the Aston Martin this year. Now, the Germans' 2020 campaign was interesting, but a lot of that could be put down to Ferrari being about as capable as a Swiss Army knife made out of cheese. For me, I think all this led to Seb falling out of love with the team and the sport on a whole. Now, compare this to his attitude and demeanour in the early content coming out of the Aston camp, and you've got what seems to be a revitalised Vettel, one which I think will see prosper in 2021. But hey, I was also the guy that said he'd win the championship this time last year, so if that's anything to go by, expect him facing the majority of 2021 the other way around.
So Dan has asked me to predict something for the 2021 Formula 1 season. Now, I'm a bit rusty at this, so apologies if I don't speak 100% properly, but we've got a few interesting ones here. Of course, we have the typical ones that Mercedes and Hamilton will win their next championships, which I think is quite likely, but I don't want to quite go down that route. I want to go Bit more of an interesting one here with Alpine. So of course they had their launch a couple of days ago. An interesting launch, let's just say that. And obviously the 2021 car livery looks absolutely fantastic. I think many of us are a fan of it. But their driver lineup new as well. Of course they lost Daniel Ricciardo to McLaren, so they're going with Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso. I feel like these are two really big, not like egos, but they're big personalities in their own right. So I feel like there will be some clashing through this year, which is of course good for Formula One. I guess everyone likes a little bit of drama in that aspect. We all found the interesting rivalry between Hamilton and Alonso back in 2007. So I feel like we're going to have something here. Obviously Alonso, the much older driver here, much more experienced. He's going to want to be in front all of the time. But I feel like Esteban Ocon is quick enough to deliver some surprise results. Now, he's obviously got the experience of being in that car for the last few years as well. So he's more than good enough to be in Formula 1 Esteban Ocon. But my prediction here is that before we finish this 2021 season, one of these two drivers is going to be out of the team before 2022, if that makes any sense. So I feel like they're going to make a decision for their 2022 plans before this season is out. I think Esteban Ocon or Fernando Alonso, both of them in quite a few ways have got a likelihood of leaving this team. Let's start with Ocon. So if he makes quite a few mistakes, doesn't deliver the performances that maybe Alpine wants, I can see them sort of saying, okay, we're going to try something different here, this isn't quite working out. He had a bit of a rocky season last year, 2020. Of course he came out after a few years off, so I feel like of course he was sort of getting into the groove once again, but I think he was well and truly outperformed by Daniel Ricciardo for the vast majority of the season, and of course he won't want that to happen again because he's been in the team for so long. So I feel like he's got a quite high likelihood of leaving before we finish off this season. And Fernando Alonso, of course, if he doesn't deliver, if the performances are no good whatsoever, I can see him saying, okay, this is it. I've had too many chances here to try and come back and win races, and it's not worked out. So I feel like there's a strong likelihood possibly that Alonso will decide to finally retire from Formula 1 at the end of this season. So I feel like we're looking at a new lineup for Alpine for 2022 already. I'm just thinking that these two personalities aren't going to work too well within a team. It's maybe working well right now, but I feel like there's going to be some clashing at some point, which is good for the sport. We sort of enjoy seeing these inter-team rivalries, and I feel like this one's going to be quite a spicy one. Maybe if I throw on a prediction on top of that for Alpine in 2021, I feel like they won't score a podium this year. Now, that's quite a bold one considering they had 3 podiums last year, but I feel like they were down to a bit more luck and maybe the unpredictability of the 2020 season with all that was going on. Crazy things happened and they maybe grasped those opportunities, but I think on pure pace they're not going to be that close to the podium. It's going to be famous last words when Alonso goes and gets a podium in the first few races, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for my parts here, and I'll hand you back over.
And there we have it. 43 predictions from the world of Formula 1. 43 super bold predictions from what I can only describe as the biggest legends in the F1 community. Thank you everyone for getting involved, and I'm hoping to get even more guests on over the course of this season. I think my favourite, I think I will go with Harry from Late Breaking. No pole positions from Valtteri Bottas this year. That's harsh, but it's certainly bold. It's just the right amount of spice. Good job, Harry and the Late Breaking boys. But before we go, before anyone shouts at me, it's about time I give you my bold prediction. And I'm actually going to do 2, because so many of you did more than 1, and if you're cheating, I am definitely cheating on my own podcast. So, up first, it's crazy. Don't get me wrong, it's crazy. Antonio Giovinazzi scores his first podium at the Singapore Grand Prix this season. I feel from last year, when I predicted Grosjean would get a podium at Singapore, I felt hard done by because we didn't race in Singapore. So I'm carrying that over, putting the pressure on Gio instead. It's going to be a carnage Grand Prix. Madness, that's a spicy prediction. But you just know, I couldn't do the first podcast without mentioning his name. And Romain Grosjean will return to Formula 1 this season, doing an FP1 practice session with Mercedes for the French Grand Prix in Paul Ricard. And on that bombshell, I will leave you with that. thank you all so much for listening, for watching. If you're watching for the first time on YouTube Premiere, thank you everyone who was involved in this video for getting involved. But if you did enjoy, it would be massively, massively, massively appreciated if you did hit that like button, if you did drop a quick comment and prediction. And of course, if you are new and you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. It's totally free, as you all know. And I'll be doing this all season long for the entirety of 2021. Thank you all so much, and hope to see you all in the next one.